We're Brit and Mike, and this is our dog, Leah. We're converting our 2021 Ford Transit van into a home on wheels. Last week, we finished paneling our walls, and in this video, we'll show you how we built our ceiling for our high roof extended van using tongue and groove boards for less than $150. Hi everyone!
Hi guys!
Welcome to Van Build episode 16. If you can believe it, we've been building this van for 4 months.
It feels weird putting it into words. It has been 4 months, yes.
So last week we finished paneling the inside of the van on the walls, and this week we are starting on our ceiling.
Yeah, so I got some real thin 1/4 inch tongue and groove that we're gonna do the ceiling in, and this morning I went and picked up 3 different wood stains. I think one of them Brittany's liable to like, hopefully. We'll see. If not, we're going back to Lowe's, and that's okay.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah, we're gonna get started there and see where it takes us.
I'm about to sneeze.
Don't sneeze. Oh.
Spring is in the air.
It has sprung. Okay, so we have 3 different colors. We have a golden oak, a weathered oak, and a special walnut. Let's go ahead and see what they look like applied to this little piece of panel that I cut out.
I think it's between this one or this one, honestly.
Yeah. This one just kind of makes it look a little dirty.
Yeah.
I really like what this one does to the wood grain, to the different colors.
Okay, we brought them outside to see in the natural light. I think it looks so much darker and warmer. So this is number 1. This is backwards now, right?
Yeah.
This one kind of looks better in the van than it did in the garage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
After much serious deliberation, we are going with number 3, surprisingly.
Yeah. Honestly, when we first put them on the first piece, 3 was the one I was like, no, that one's first one out. And then after kind of looking at him for a little bit,
yeah,
like I like it. It brings out the wood grain, but it's not that real warm color. So
yeah, it happened to look really dark on our first piece, but I think a light coat with a good sanding. Let us know what you think. This will be white wall. I think that'll look good.
I think so too. What's up, everyone? It's been about a full day since I last picked you up. We didn't start sanding yesterday because I am fairly new to woodworking, so I decided to do a little bit of research before I started. It's probably a good thing that I did. So when you're staining a soft wood like a pine, which is what we're using for our roof, it's recommended that you use what's called wood conditioner, this stuff right here. And basically what that's to help with is just keep the stain from getting blotchy, because softwood is more porous in certain areas than others, and it'll take the stain differently in different spots, and then you'll end up with these really dark spots that don't look very good. So yeah, I went and picked some of that stuff up. I've got all my first set of boards laid out, ready to go. Now I just have to sand them down, get them prepped and ready, and then cut them to length, because you don't want to stain before you cut your boards, because then you're going to go going back and touching up the pieces that you didn't stain already. So first make the cuts, then use the conditioner, and then stain the wood. Sanding by hand was going way too slow and tedious for me yesterday, so I have upped my game to this guy. Alright guys, be honest with me. What do you think of my new look? This sander has no dust collection, so apparently I am the dust collection system. It's everywhere. But I've got the first batch of boards cut to length, including these little guys over here, and sanding is now complete. There's dust absolutely everywhere, so before I can start staining these, I have to go through and with a shop vac and just take off all the excess dust. Alright, got the dust cleaned up. Got everything prepped and ready. Got a few over here as well. And I've even got some little small guys over here. I'm gonna go ahead and apply this this wood conditioner first, and I think it takes about 5 minutes to soak in, dry, and then go ahead and put on your stain. So hopefully this goes fast. Alright. Alright guys, finished product, not yet dry, but I like it. Alright guys, so I haven't filmed in a little bit because I've had some figuring out to do. Basically, before I can start attaching the boards to the roof on the back of the van, I need something to attach them to back here on this back wall. Now this is just a little template that I made. The way that I made this was I took a sheet of plywood, 1/4 inch ply, just like my side panels here, cut it so that it fits all the way across right here from this side to this side, pushed it up as far as I could, drew out lines on both sides. When it was pushed all the way into place, jigsawed those corners out. So the top part of this, I jigsawed that out first, both sides, and then I put it back up here and pushed it all the way to the top so that I could get an outline of the entire curvature of this this rib here. That way this back piece will match this piece perfectly. And then I just went ahead and jigsawed out the other half, the other side, so that it all lines up pretty well. As you can see, I can just pop this in place and it fits in here really well. I do have wires here, so what I'm going to do is there's a couple holes up here for M6 rib nuts, just like we used on the framing in the van, right? So I'm going to put a couple M6 rib nuts in here with a little 1/2 inch spacer. That should give me enough room for these cables to run in there. So just little 1/2 inch spacers wherever I'm going to put my M6 bolts through, and then that'll push it out just a little ways. And then all I got to do is use this template that I made, trace it out on a 1x6 or a 2x6 or something like that, and cut it out exactly to size. That way it's a nice thick surface to nail into, screw into when I put these panels on the roof. Okay, I know that was a mouthful, so hopefully it made sense to you guys too. Basically all I'm going to do is take the template that I made, I'm going to copy it exactly to a thicker piece of wood, and I'm going to mount it using rib nuts to the back of the van, and I'm just going to need to put some little 1/2 inch pieces of plywood. I'll just cut out a couple 1/2 inch pieces of plywood as spacers, and that'll keep the new board that I put up from crushing those wires or breaking them or anything like that. So there'll be enough room for those wires to run behind them. That's the plan. Okay, so now that I have a 1x6, you can kind of see how this is going to be cut. So it's actually straight on the edges on both sides with a full curve that matches the curvature of the back rib of the van. Alright, so I got my rib nuts installed up here. Got one over here, one up here. And you can actually see my bolts from our framing videos that I used previously that have sharpened tips on them, so that all I have to do is put the piece of wood up against it and press on it to figure out where I need to drill my holes at. So I've already done that. Now I'm just going to go back, drill my holes, cut out my spacers, and should be able to attach this thing. Okay, so hopefully now you can kind of get a better idea of what I'm talking about doing here. So I went ahead and drilled my holes, recessed them a little bit so the head of the bolt will sit inside the flush with the wood. I've got a 1/2 inch spacer that I made out of some ply with my bolt going through both, and that should allow all the cords to fit behind this into this space, but giving you a nice solid surface to mount the ceiling planks to. Alright guys, there we go. Got that thing installed. You can see my bolts go through, but there's a gap behind it. I'm gonna call that a success. I think it looks pretty good.
Hi everyone, it is the next day. We are here in the van and Mike has found the center of our ceiling this morning so that we can put up our ceiling panels. So we've got a bunch of them stained and sanded and we're ready to go. I'm excited. Are you excited?
No, I'm nervous.
Nervous? It's gonna look so good.
This is like one of the first things that we've done that if it doesn't go right, it's gonna be very obvious.
Yeah, you're right. This is one of the first things that we've done that's like a finishing touch.
Yeah.
Other than the entire exterior. But we don't have to look at the exterior all day.
Right.
That's funny. Right as we were filming that last clip, right before we were about to start on the ceiling, one of our neighbors stopped by because we're basically building this van like in the street of a suburb, like of a residential neighborhood. So we get a lot of like looks and people like stopping by, but she said that she's been watching us since the beginning and that we've been doing such a good job. And I think that is so nice, especially because Mike's been like learning and building everything by himself. He has help from my dad and like our family that lives around here sometimes, but yeah, so that's just really sweet. And on that note, I just wanted to thank everybody who takes the time to leave a comment on one of our videos. I'm just like a corporate lawyer that has iMovie, but I really enjoy making these videos, and I know Mike's really enjoying doing the build, and so when we get comments that say like, thank you for this video, thank you for explaining, like that looks good, it really means a lot. So thank you guys so much for watching. I say that at the end of the video, but I do really mean it. All right, Mike has got the first board in place and we're ready to go.
They say the first one's the most important one. So
no pressure.
I'm gonna try not to screw this up too bad. Okay, no turning back now. Okay, so I went ahead and popped the second one in place. What's really nice is these boards are pretty light. I went with a really thin tongue and groove so that it would cut down on weight, it would cut down on cost, and that also has an added benefit of being able to hold itself in place just with the tongue and groove. Now I can get the nail gun out, you know, move around, whatever I gotta do before I nail this up. So that's just an added benefit. One thing I really liked about this thinner tongue and groove that I got is that it should be able to match the curvature to the front of the van without any like special extra work. Like I was thinking about getting a full thickness tongue and groove and doing relief cuts all down it so that I could get like the nice curvature of there, but I think this is gonna work just as well. It's really flexible. Like if I push on it, pretty easy to flex. All right guys, we got the first set of boards installed in the van. They look really nice. I'm really happy with how they're coming out. Right now, I'm just prepping the next set because I only have so much room in the space that I'm using to stain the wood and let it dry and all that type of stuff. So doing all my cuts and my staining in batches. I'm gonna go ahead and do my next set. I've got everything marked out, ready to cut. As you can see with my little lines here. Went ahead and did that to all these boards. Once I get them cut out, time to sand again and repeat the process, stain, all that stuff. Hopefully it goes faster now that I have a better idea of what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. How do you feel?
It's a little heavy, I'm a little nervous. It can't be harder than the saw, right?
No.
Yeah. And I use the saw.
It's very safe. Like that Brit sandpaper, you hit your hand or something, it's not gonna do anything.
Yeah. It's vibrating my bones.
Yeah, it's not the nicest one I've used. It's very powerful.
Hated that. I should have known when I heard how loud it was inside the house that it was not good.
And it's not very ergonomic with one hand.
Oh my god, okay. I literally hate it so much. Oh my god. I cannot hate that more. I don't think I can finish it. Okay, I'll trade you.
Right. Alright, I just went ahead and finished sanding all these boards for the next round of stain. And unfortunately I have to call it a night because the wood conditioner actually requires the temperature to be above 55 degrees. It is currently 51 degrees. So I'm gonna come back in the morning, finish this up, knock out as much as possible because I don't want this to be a repeat problem. Good morning guys. It's the next day, currently 58 degrees, and we are ready to get to work on conditioning and staining the next round of boards. As you can see behind me, I've got the door open in the back, I've got the front door open, and even though I'm not using this space, I've got the other garage door open. Last time I was doing this, I got a little lightheaded. And you're supposed to have good ventilation. I thought I had pretty adequate ventilation, but figured it couldn't hurt to have a couple extra open doors. I'm also wearing a mask while I do it. Alright guys, so just to touch a little bit more on the pre-stain wood conditioner. The instructions are super simple. Basically, open it up, stir it up really well. Use a clean rag or paper towel or a cloth, something preferably that doesn't have fibers that are going to break off. I actually got these stain pads. This is the same one I used before for the conditioner. I just cleaned it off since it's water-based. I washed it out with water, wrung it out, dried it out. Should be good to go for this time. You just apply it in a nice even coat, let it sit for 1 to 5 minutes. And then you come back over and wipe off all the excess that doesn't soak into the wood with some kind of rag or something. I actually am using paper towels. These shop towel paper towels are great. They don't leave behind any fibers, and they leave it looking nice and smooth when I'm done. Okay, so applying the stain is a very similar process to the wood conditioner. Just stir it up really well. Use something without a lot of fibers to apply it to your wood. And then what I've been doing is, because we don't want this color to come out too dark, and you know, we kind of like a lighter finish. What I've been doing is applying a nice coat to the wood, and then going back over it just like we do with the conditioner, and take up all the excess with a paper towel pretty much immediately after I finish. And I've liked the results that we've gotten so far. So for comparison's sake, now that you can see the difference that the stain is making here, I just love how it brings out these characteristics that were pretty muted on the pine. And you can see also in the groove how there's some fibers. This is what happens if you don't do a good enough job sanding. Luckily, that's all going to be concealed. Alright, it's been about 35 minutes. The boards are looking nice and dry, and I think they're ready to install. Let's do this. Alright, looks like I lost you there for a minute, but I went ahead and installed the rest of those boards. As you can see behind me, pretty much the entire center of the van is done, all the way up to the fan. So my next cuts are going to be from here to the front. It's about 59.5 inches. I'm going to cut 8 boards to that size, and then I've already got some cut for this little section here in the front. I think that'll be good, and that'll be the entire middle of the van from the back all the way to the front. And then I got to drill my holes for the lights and run my wires before I finish up the sides.
These are my babies. They're going in the front of the van, so hopefully they turn out okay. They're a little toxic right now, so we're just gonna let them dry and come back to them and put them up in the front when they're ready.
So we haven't really talked about how I plan to connect the boards at the front of the van. As you can see, all I've got here is this metal rib. That's not gonna cut it. So there's no holes in the front of this rib to attach rib nuts to. So that plan's kind of out the window. Basically, what my plan is I've got this nice Douglas fir 2x2 that I picked up. It's the same material that I used for the inside of the walls for the studs. And I'm gonna cut that to length. Should be about 40 inches or so. And I'm gonna have to drill a couple holes out up here. Hopefully that's not too tough, because I know the metal at the front of the van is very, very hard to drill through. So I'm gonna drill a couple holes through there, match them up on this, drill them through here, sink some screws through it, and if that doesn't feel like it's a tight enough hold, I've got some construction adhesive that I can add to the back side of it. These are drywall anchors, and I cut the heads off a couple screws. Pretty secure, no adhesive needed. I will have to pull these out and put some clean metal primer on it, but yeah, I think we're good. I think that's gonna work. What's up guys? It's Monday, I'm back working on the van, And as you can see, I'm working on the curved part at the front of the van here. It's been a little challenging. I've actually been here for 3-4 hours and this is all I've got done. But I think it looks really nice. So the reason it's been taking me so long is I've been racking my brain all day long trying to figure out just a couple things. One, how am I going to attach the boards at the front? When you put the boards on the bottom of this cross beam that I've attached here and attach it up here, it's a lot of bend in the board, a lot of give, and I really didn't like it. I felt like over time it would create problems and I'd probably have boards rip out, and I didn't like that. So on top of the board, like I have it here, it's actually much less of an angle and much less stress on the middle of the board. So I think it's going to have better lasting results to do it like that. The only problem is the corners over here on both sides, they're more narrow than the center. So what I was having happen was the edges would fit really well in the corner and it wouldn't push up very high. But once you got to the center here, the boards were pushing up like almost a full inch. So I actually took another board, 2 boards actually, and shimmed it out on top. And what I'm going to do is go through and attach all my finishing nails directly into that board. So basically these ceiling boards will be sandwiched between 2 sets of boards here. And it's going to keep it from going anywhere. I think it'll look really nice, and it'll be pretty sturdy and have like a nice straight line on it. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. The boards are just as forgiving and flexible as I thought they would be when I selected them for this project with this in mind. You know, other than the weight and the price both being big pluses, the ability to bend the boards without doing any kind of relief cuts or anything special was a huge plus for me. I'm going to figure out exactly where to install the puck lights that are going to go in the van. I went today to Lowe's and picked up a 2 1/4 inch hole saw. It calls for a 60 millimeter hole. I can't pick that up from Lowe's, so the closest I can get is either a 2 1/4 inch hole saw, which is what this is. It's I think 57 millimeters, or a 2 1/2 inch hole saw, which is 63 millimeters. The 2 1/4, it fits snugly, but there's no gaps. So I think that's probably the route I'm going to go, the better route anyways, and go figure out where these are going to go and drill out some holes so that we can install our puck lights. All right, quick update. I've got my boards ran. I'm very happy with it so far. I've gone ahead and marked out all my holes for my puck lights, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and start drilling those out. Get a little more done tonight while I have a little time left. What's up everyone? It's a new day. I'm back in the van, hopefully finishing up a lot of the roof today. So I wanted to give you guys a good look at what it looks like in the light, since last night it was pretty dark when I was trying to show you what the roof was looking like. So before anyone says anything, yes, I know the lights look a little funny where I have the holes drilled out, but it's all been planned out. Basically, I'm working around all of the cabinetry that we're gonna have under cabinet lights as well. Okay, I went through and made a list of all the cuts that I need to make for the remaining boards that I have to install, and I'm gonna go ahead and get started on those. Alright, so I figured maybe you guys wanted to see something a little bit different than me cutting, staining, and sanding boards in this video. So we're gonna go ahead and start running the electrical to our lights and go ahead and connect them and put them up in the ceiling, because I can't really close the ceiling off until I do that. Okay, so I went ahead and installed a couple lights here, and I'm going to show you how I'm connecting these. So my cord comes through the wall to this light, drops down. There's another cord that drops down from here, goes through over here, drops down, and then another cord, this one right here, drops down here, and that cord goes over to here, drops down, another cord from here, comes over to the last one on the series and drops down right here. Wiring in series basically means that we're going from hot to hot, neutral to neutral on every light. And the way that I'm connecting them, because you're not supposed to use wire nuts in a van, when you're driving, the van vibrates and those wire nuts over time will just loosen up and fall off, which will cause shorts and other problems. So what I'm using are these guys here. They have little tabs on them. So you open these tabs to put the wire in, and then once the wire's in the hole, push all the way in, you close it, clamp it down. So the reason I've got the one with the 3 holes here is because we're going, like I said, hot to hot. So we're gonna have one red one. The next red one is gonna be in here as well. And then the hot cable on our light as well. And then you're gonna do the same, but with the black wires. Super easy. I just trimmed these back 2.5 inches off this white sheathing here, and then took the ends off about 1/4 inch, and yeah, they're ready to go. Should take only like a few seconds to hook up the next light. All right, this is what they look like all hooked up. Red to red, black to black. They're nice and tight. These are great because they're good all the way from 12 AWG, which is what my wiring that I chose for the van is, all the way down to 24. So pretty much any size wire that comes on your light will work with the same clips, which is great. So now this is ready just to pop into the ceiling, and I can go ahead and finish this run by doing the last light. And these pop into the ceiling really easily. These are spring loaded. So you just push it back, put one in, push it back, put the other one back, and then just pop it in, and then it just holds into place with those springs. What's up everyone? It's yet another day. I'm back in the van, and as you can see, I just finished installing the rest of the puck lights at the front of the van. So I'm gonna go ahead and start attaching those boards. As I get close to the edges are gonna be a little bit difficult to finish out because there's gonna be like a half board width on both sides of the van that I'm gonna have to fill, and I don't have any full length boards. Lowe's has been out of them. The rest of the video might get a little interesting because I have to cut around both of the foam blocks on both sides and mount everything and make it look good. So that's where we're at. Fred Durst coming at you live. Sorry, I know I look goofy. It's been a couple hours since I last picked you guys up. The last thing I was working on was notching out this board right here. As you can see, I got that one in place and the one next to it on both sides here. Just had to do some fine tuning with the jigsaw to get those in place. And then similarly to what I did up here with the backer board behind this, I did the same thing over here. So there's just a board sitting flush back here. I held it in place with some clamps and nailed through it so that these two pieces have a little something extra to grab onto, and it'll keep them from popping apart at any point. So just something to make this sturdy, and it's pretty strong, guys. I've got this guy. This is the cord for the air conditioner. So that runs over to here. It's actually connected to the roof joist with some zip ties. Once I have everything in place, I'm gonna nail that to the wall in the back of the closet. You'll never know it's there. So yeah, all I've got to do is finish up the sides, which I think I'm gonna try to do these big boards on either side today if I can. And then all I have to do tomorrow when I come back is wrap up these little trim pieces here. Alright guys, so as you can see, it's getting dark. I went ahead and tacked the last boards into place, the full-size boards, with one tack on each side just to hold them there until tomorrow. That way if I need to pull them down and play with them a little bit to get the finishing pieces in, I can. It should be a real short day tomorrow for wrapping this up, and then we can get started on the next project.
It's the next day, and today is the end of the ceiling saga. So Mike, as you can see, is putting in the trim ring for our MAXX air fan. He cut a little bit off of that so that it would fit nicely flush up against our ceiling boards. And then we have these little gaps up here that we're gonna fill today, and we'll be done. Oh, it looks so good.
Right? That looks nice.
It does. I'm so happy. It's the last board.
Alright guys, I know I talked about it in some detail, but here is the product that we used for the ceiling. 3.5 inch planks, 1/4 inch thick, and I think the biggest plus overall was the price. I originally bought 6 packages of planks, which came out to $120 because they're only about $20 a piece. And I had a lot of cutoffs, so I ended up having to buy another package. But overall, we did the entire ceiling for under 150 bucks. So it's a huge win.
Yeah, we are so excited that the ceiling is finally done. It took about 9 working days.
Yeah.
Here, give or take. But yeah, it looks so good, so we're so happy with the result. And we'll have some trim work to do to finish it off, but we're gonna wait until we have our cabinets and all of our other fixtures in place before we do that. So that will be in a later video. So we're gonna call this done for now.
Yeah, I'm excited to move on to the next thing.
Yeah. All right, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next week.
Bye guys.